what's up, chat? I'm burning out on drawing 4 pages of Chainsaw Man. I was trying to finish it last night, but instead I ended up playing Slay the Spire. I also wrote all of this. And illegible small text. This music sucks right now. We can do better than this. One page, 2 page, three page, 4 page, now. If I'm getting tired of drawing Chainsaw Man after drawing 3 pages, is it really indefensible that the author would get tired of drawing Chainsaw Man too and be like, guys, it's gonna end? Can you really blame him? That's what assistants are for? Trust me, he has assistants. You can actually tell when the quality of Chainsaw Man Part 2 goes down when one of his assistants, the guy who's doing Dan Da Dan right now, left. And you know, Dan Da Dan is known for its insanely high details and stuff in the backgrounds and shit. So I do think it was like half that he was just tired, but the other half was like he wrote himself into a corner. But the thing is that if he just needed a break, he could have 100% just asked for a break. So he was just like straight up completely done. It's a good thing to end. I don't want another Berserk situation. I mean, did you read the Chainsaw Man ending? I can't say it was a good thing to end, even if I'm worrying about the health of the author. It's also like it wasn't like Muta wasn't taking breaks all the time. He was on massive rounds of hiatus all the time. So the whole like Muta worked himself to the death part like is probably true, but it's not like he was just working non-stop forever and just grinding out insanely detailed chapters every single week. He was taking a shit ton of breaks. I heard it was a stupid ending, but name the last good ending you read. In general, manga, it tends to either become popular enough to go on to the point where, like, only a very small amount of people are following it, like the most die-hard fans. They keep on milking it until, like, everybody begins to leave, and then they end it. That's, like, pattern 1. Or pattern 2 is it starts to lose popularity halfway through. So it just gets canceled, and then it gets like a crazy ending, or our battle has just begun ending. He'd have to get back to work after his hiatus. And it can be hard to regain momentum if you're already mentally burnt out beyond repair. So now that a lot of the manga is posted digitally online, editors and stuff are trying to make it so that they're not like working their talent to death and so on. Because the big problem with having a paper magazine, which is what the format was for the longest amount of time, is they decide they have to have a specific number of pages in the book ahead of time because of the way printing works. So if you can't make the deadline, it's not just like there's like 20 fewer pages in that magazine. The editors have to have a separate, it's called Daigen, but a replacement manuscript essentially on hand at all times for situations like that. But now that we're working digitally for all these Jump Plus mangas and a lot of other mangas, they can allow their artists to go on these long breaks to prevent burnout. So if you notice, Chainsaw Man has been having a bunch of breaks and stuff. Weekly manga is just like absolutely, even the most talented people, you're asking them to just like burn the candle at both ends and burn out. It didn't stop Kubo Tight, who ended Bleach and made that other series. I have a secret for you. Kubo didn't end Bleach. The magazine did because it was no longer popular. That's what I'm saying. It's not under the artist's control 95% of the time. That was what we call uchikiri, which means it was fucking canceled. Your show got canceled. Full Metal Alchemist is the last good anime ending to me still. See, I keep on forgetting the level of like casuals we have in this stream, and like how most people who are like, I'm fans of this thing, what they actually mean is they're fans of the anime, not the manga. So they don't understand. It's always funny if like you go to Viz, the Western publishing side of Shonen Jump right now, and like you read the comments section of like one of the 10 million different Shonen Jump manga that's regularly getting canceled every single year. There'll always be like these comments from these Western readers who are just beginning their manga reading Odyssey, and they're like, "What do you mean it's over?" And you're like, "LMAO, you sweet summer child." Feel the love, chat. Anybody who watches anime instead of reading the manga of something that was based on manga is a fucking casual. I don't know what to say. It's a way worse way to experience it. If we're going to have ranking, it's like manga, consumer, casual tiers, SS, watch YouTube compilation S, watch anime dubbed. A, so do you fucking casual ass anime consumers in chat, and I assume a lot of them even know what I'm talking about at D, send letter to Jump so it doesn't get cancelled? Because I bet like half of you people don't even fucking know what I'm talking about. The reason why your favorite, or probably nobody's favorite, but somebody's favorite manga ends is because Shonen Jump, still in 2026, on purpose, has a system in which you buy the fucking magazine at your local convenience store, and you have to send in these, like, it's like ranked choice votings where you're like, this is my favorite, this is my favorite, this is my favorite. So you get to choose 3 of them. And if like 20% of people who send in shit are choosing like one to be number 1, that's like a super popular manga, like One Piece. But this is a highly analog system on purpose. In order to get one of these ballots, you have to buy the fucking magazine, not just flip through it at the local convenience store for free. You have to take the time to put it in the fucking post box. So these are people who are spending their money and time to do something extra. So we know for a fact they're their customers. And Shonen Jump still runs based on this, even in 2026. Shout out to the pubescent boys begging Shonen Jump to not cancel shitty series. You know who's doing it the most, though? Who is doing the Lifeline shit the most? We know it. This is relevant to you, Death Striker. It's the fucking women. We talk about this all the time. How there's, like, weird fan voting for, like, minor characters in Bleach and stuff like that. It's the Fujoshi and just the Otaku Joshi who have the highest rate of voting. Also, the Island of Giant Insects sequel never got finished. Boo, LOL. Are you complaining about the hentai in which women get raped by insects? Or am I thinking of something else? Insect fuckers be a different breed. Uncancel High School of the Dead, the creator died. You say that, but Dragon Ball lives on in Dragon Ball Super. High School of the Dead is something that could 100% continue if they wanted it to continue, because it's not like the person who was writing it was providing that much of a great service. It's just that because he was the 99% of the value of High School of the Dead was coming from Inazuma drawing the sexy artwork and people cooming over the characters. So the writer dying shouldn't have any problems, but the writer was the artist's brother, so being like, LMAO, your brother's dead, but that don't mean shit is probably not a good way to motivate the author. Shout out to my Bondage Fairy bros. Bondage Fairy was never sexy, even back in the day when we didn't have a lot of porn to jack off to. Americans don't give a fuck. They keep churning out Marvel and DC crap. They do give a fuck in that the consumers are no longer buying it. Just because they're so incompetent that they can't actually produce something that's popular doesn't necessarily mean they don't give a fuck, which is kind of worse. They're giving a fuck and it's still not good enough because they have no talent. And why would you take your talent to fucking Marvel and DC, right? It's not like you're going to become insanely rich. It's just like a somewhat stable job. Ultimately, a lot of what we want out of our creators is the individual perspective of that artist to take you into like a new world in which you wouldn't be able to experience yourself. So this sort of weirdly industrialized storytelling systems that DC and Marvel have like set up are just the antithesis of what attracts people to entertainment. Herp derp, let's make Iceman gay even though he was always hetero. Let's have Superman have a gay son. Even without the DEI shit. Marvel and DC were always just going to have a continuous decline in quality because the entire culture of the Western comic publishing industry doesn't respect the author, so there isn't much motivation for authors to be good in the first place. I mean, part of that is financial. There isn't any like opportunity to become like insanely rich, but there isn't any like real creative motivation as well. It's particularly funny how you have these like semi-independent, non-Marvel, non-DC publishing houses that are like, we're not going to be tied down by Marvel and DC. We have our own personal vision in like Western comic publishing. And what do they do with that independence? They're like, we're different. What do? They just make more superhero genre shit. They literally just can't think of anything besides superhero stuff. They made Invincible, yeah. So we have somebody who was like, I don't have to follow Marvel and DC. What does he make? More fucking superhero stuff. And Invincible kind of starts out as just like a commentary on the superhero genre, but eventually, well, not even eventually, by like volume 3, it's just like superhero genre without any real like twist or anything like that. It's just the superhero genre. It's a parody and more violent than Marvel DC. That's what they tell themselves, that it's a parody, but it's not even a parody, right? It's just doing the same thing as Marvel and DC does, with just like a slight bit of comedy of like being like, oh, there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek shit, but shit like Walking Dead is actually stuff that we need more. I can't remember which publishing company Walking Dead was. Was that Dark Horse? Usually when they're not tied to Marvel and DC, the only thing that creators do is they just have like, what if we did the same thing that Marvel and DC were doing already, but we made it like hyper violent and more edgy? Usually is like the limit of creativity. You compare that to the Japanese publishing industry, and it's like, what if we just had a manga about a guy who goes and eats things? My Kodoku no Gurume stands know what I'm talking about. I mean, the entire, like, food-related manga is like an entire fucking genre. Japan still mosaicing pubes? That's like complaining about Japan having making gambling illegal. If you make the thing that's illegal legal, then you take away the livelihoods of many hard-working Yakuza bosses. This is a deconstruction of a genre, looks inside, example of the genre, yeah. The term food porn has like an entirely different connotation in the East. I think Japan was the only country when they polled people, like when do they feel the most pleasure, and the largest percentage of people said that when they're eating something. And like all the other countries, number one was, you know, when you're coming deep inside a prostitute's pussy or something like that. Japan was the only one where it was like, we're all about the food, which explains why Japanese food quality is so much better than, you know, every other country. But like, think about, well, I don't know if you guys can think about all the genres. The Japanese manga industry is full of weird-ass genres that they would never even attempt in Western publishing. Not even just not attempt, but not even like think about them. I browse Jump Plus right now. Like, look at this, man. Like, I guess you fucking casuals probably don't know this. But if we go to Jump Plus, right, at every single day, top of the list sexy sex. I want to be a slave of big booby girls. Pretty shitty social commentary that's trying to merge the dynamics of the internet with like society but isn't doing a good job. An indie love comedy that's like about being in a harem. Story about a superhero but it's actually commentary on the microaggressions of daily life. Horror comedy of occult urban legends. Urban fantasy with a cute girl. Depressing story about a cute alien coming to Japan and being forced to work in an endless conveyor belt factory because he can like clone himself. So he comes to Japan, so what happens? He gets to wage slave, infinite amounts of wage slaving. Banned manga about metal, which is not very popular because every single episode is just the guy plays music, but they're not allowed to actually put in the copyrighted name of the song, so they have to have like the name of the song partially censored. Indie about a guy who is not just a guy, an entire hospital of assassins. Very unpopular. Weekly, or I think it's a daily 4 coma about a cat, but the cat looks like, I don't know, not like a cat at all. Not popular, but they still let it go on forever. Nothing ever happens. But I think the editors feel it's helpful to just have something that stays there. That's just one day. The other days you have baseball, pets are cute, I want to have a million girlfriends, straight up shoujo, horror. Look how much different shit the Japanese publishing industry tries and produce. But have you thought about being reincarnated as a JAV star? I don't worry about being reincarnated at all. I can be a JAV star right now. I just have to apply to those jobs where it's the guys, they just stand around in their whitey tighties and they come on the female. Of course, you have to be able to come on command, so I probably wouldn't do very well regarding that. I don't think I'd feel particularly comfortable being surrounded by 10 million other ugly bastards. Would it even be worth the money? No, it's not worth the money being an extra. I guarantee that. Even the highly in-demand male porn stars in Japan, I guess not just in Japan, basically everywhere, male porn stars are extremely underpaid. You'd think that there would be some sort of market correction, but despite it being like super hard work and necessary, they always are underpaid and they have to like maintain a grueling schedule. But no, there isn't any like unionization anyways, so they're just kind of cursed to be that way. Gay for pay, gotcha approved. It really do be like that though. If you want to make it as a male porn star, you often have to do gay porn just to pay the bills. I guess it's just the difference of like, even if you have to work super hard, you're essentially just like the unskilled labor because the market is correcting for the fact that you're not the object of desire. If you're not a gay porn star, a non-gay porn star, male porn star, the audience is not watching the movie for you and the market is properly correcting for that, I guess. They should make a gay dating app called Meetup. So, if you guys want to see the equivalent of that, try going to sniffies.com. Let's see. I was born in 1971. I can confirm I meet all age requirements. Are you a real cruiser? Yes, continue. Drag and drop the shape over to the matching outline. Good cruiser. Alright, let's see. Accept all cookies. Damn. Your location may be inaccurate. Alright, let's see. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're getting about like 13 hits in this can't be my correct location. Anyways, Sniffies is a website that I cannot show you right now, but it just gives you a map, and you just get all these cocks. It's the whole part. It's what straight men would want their dating apps to be like, as in they just want to get pussy. Men just want to have sex, but because they have to deal with the annoying females in the process, they have to pretend like they're, you know, up for long-term relationships to some degree, whereas the gay people, they don't have to do that. They can just go directly to the whole fucking part, so they don't have to pretend. No need to advertise when half the attendees already have it installed. It was harder before we had the internet, of course. If you were a up-and-coming Republican politician, you would have to do the legwork of going to a Minneapolis airport bathroom and sticking your foot underneath the stall. Why are you looking at gay dating sites? I need to see cock and ass from a purely heterosexual perspective. It shares the same mental space as looking up gore and porn sites. That's right, guys. I only look at hot gay men because it's the equivalent of watching live leak videos of Chinese factory workers get sucked into conveyor belts. Definitely not because I want to see the hot bodies of gay men. I would never do that. Sometimes he wants a little meat and potatoes. I need to cleanse my palate regularly. If I'm just drawing men, then I want to draw female bodies. If I'm only drawing female bodies, I need to draw like male bodies. I'm not even being sarcastic regarding that. Like, I hadn't drawn like a sexy ass shot in a while, which is why I'm like, okay, I need to break from doing this Chainsaw Man shit. I need to draw like the curves of the female form. It's crazy how much easier it is dating for gay guys. I'm sure you can find some gay guys who is like, I hear gay guys get a lot of ass pussy, but I haven't been getting any recently. That's just a function of women being incredibly annoying and difficult to deal with. Not it being necessarily easier for gay guys who just become accustomed to the bullshit that comes with the female sex. Because they know they have the supply and they know the demand greatly outweighs the supply. They're siphoning off the supply as hard as possible. Meanwhile, in the gay community, the supply and demand, they are both the supply and the demand, right? The gay guys need that dick in a way that women do not, so... A gay friend complains that there aren't enough gays in this city, they know each other. Depends on which city you live in, I guess. People probably just move. Also, every city has a lot of gays in them, but in some of the cities the gays are closeted. And they don't feel like coming out and getting on the websites. A real shame what has happened to the goth community with all the fake e-girls. Yes, they're not real goths. Like Night Queen Ravenholm. Our local female who wears black and smokes clove cigarettes. I mean, what does it mean to be a real goth? It's just a fucking fashion, guys. It's not like she's an actual witch, except in some cases in which you don't want to deal with them. Forever the mindset, it became so terrible the moment I saw a McDonald's DoorDash video. Was there a McDonald's DoorDash video with a goth in it? You mean they don't sacrifice your piece to their god? See, before being a goth became just a popular thing, you didn't wear black because you thought it was like your fashion. You wore black because you had to satisfy the demon god or whatever. Whatever casual e-girl version of goth is just like step 500 in the progressive dilution of what the original purpose was in the first place. There was like 8 McDonald's DoorDash commercial with a goth girl. McDonald's DoorDash goth. It's not showing up. I'm only getting the McDonald's Japan shorts, which has 5.7 million views. Meanwhile, in Japan, guys, look how happy she is. I cry every time. Thinking about how I will never have my Ronald McDonald flavored wife and my beautiful daughter that looks exactly like her, who is happy just because I bought her McDonald's. So cute. Let's check the fan art of it. I wonder how big the mom's boobs are. Also, I'm sure the porn will feature the husband and wife having sex. Am I right, fellow porn consumers? It won't be a massive faceless black guy. No. The top comments is saying that the daughter's face looks exactly like the mother, but the way she eats is exactly like the father. And I'm just saying, what face? They just have the same fucking hairstyle. Is this Japan Christmas? No, this is a ad for buying Japan at McDonald's at 5 p.m. It's like evening Mac instead of having like a real actual meal. I'm gonna dump buckets into that McDonald's mom. The McDonald's mom exists only for the wholesome consumption of fast food, not for your sexualization. Now go out and buy more McDonald's. Do your duty and consume more fast food. It's the only way to save Japan's birth rate. The bunny girl outfit is so overdone. It's the most vanilla thing ever. It's the default artist go-to and I hate it. It's just so simple and boring at this point. Guys, there are so many other cooler outfits. Down with bunny girl tyranny. Wrong. Bunny girl is the ultimate outfit. But I'm not going to draw anything for Easter. Easter is stupid. The Easter bunny in particular is stupid. We should celebrate Easter to remember that Jesus died for our sins and was reborn in immortal form. Not worshipping some sort of pagan rabbit god, and by extension, women dressed loosely as some rabbit-like concept. nuns, spacesuits, maids, bikinis. And by nuns, we of course mean nuns that are dressed like strippers, not actual nuns, because then that wouldn't be sexy. It's sexier with the real nun because you know she's got a rocking body underneath. That's right, guys. Whenever you can't see a female's body or face, it's important to assume the absolute best case condition. Everything that you don't see in the female body just automatically means that they have an idealized, attractive version of that underneath whatever clothing covering that is preventing view of it. Every woman wearing burqas in the Middle East has an insane 10 out of 10 hyper attractive supermodel body. Every Japanese woman who's wearing a mask is wearing a mask because if she took off the mask and you saw her face, you'd just be stunned by her incredible sexiness and beauty. It's common knowledge that hot women hate to show their bodies after all, yes. If there's one thing we know about hot women, it's that how incredibly sheltered and withdrawn they are. They would never possibly show off their female form. Explain why the bunny girl is the ultimate outfit. I've already explained this multiple times, but the high-cut leotard, the attractiveness of the female form is best pronounced by having this this vertical line flow of the body. So when you have these things like high-cut leotards, such as competitive swimsuits or perhaps bunny suits, it creates this V-shaped form that guides your eye downward to the sexual zone, thus emphasizing to the maximum that you want to have sex with the female body. And the bunny suit is part of this. We can give her a thing. Of course, if you're going by the original Hefner design, it can be like it's not high cut at all. It's like this, right? But in modern drawings, it's almost always like at least this high cut. So can the female form be attractive in non-form fitting clothes, in your opinion? I mean, you can have an attractive female body and then have like baggy clothes that you can kind of see the female form through the bagginess. You want to have this baggy t-shirt be relatively cropped though, so you can get... You don't want it to be too baggy. If it's like completely baggy, then it'll just be like this and then you don't get to see the boobs. So some amount of form fitting is important. I mean, fashion designers have been thinking about this for 10 million years now. How to show the female form better. Whereas male fashion designers, we basically just figured out if you put a guy in a suit, he looks good. I personally think women look good in suits as well, but the suit is designed to show the blockiness and the squareness of the male form. And we haven't really been able to improve on it. It's just going to basically be the ultimate in male body form fitting design. But the female form, on the other hand, we have a lot more variations, or at least women have been spending, you know, millions of years trying to perfect this, so... The suit waistcoat is a powerful wardrobe piece in the female wardrobe if utilized properly. One of my favorite tropes of anime and stuff that I feel is criminally underused is I want basically women that dress like men, but then their female form is too iconic that even in various forms of male fashion, you can still see how female they are. This is the hottest. Let's have more short-haired girls with glasses. And get them in fucking suits. But even despite being in the suit, you can see the wideness of their hips. Tomboys is more of a attitude and aesthetic thing. This is like the 80s power suit combo. I was thinking about this especially because I was watching the 90s I Feel Coke ad, and there was short-haired females in suits. And I was like, that's it, Maine. We need more of that. The issue is to not make them look like butches. Real-life butches aren't just women with short hair. They're like... This is average butch right here. My opinions on lesbians, especially butch lesbians, has changed after I started watching true crime, and I went through like 10 videos in the course of like 5 months in which there was like some butch female who was both like abusing the shit out of her wife or like one of her adopted children or some shit like that. And I was like, uh-oh, these people might have some problems. Only a few of them look like the first drawing. I mean, this isn't even a butch lesbian. This is a 90s fashion, 90s and 80s fashion thing. I'm not talking about... Where do I get to my fucking favorites? I'm talking about this ad. I think about this all the time. The fucking 90s. One Piece right there. Right here, you see that? The woman with the rimmed glasses right there. Very short hair. This is in your favorites? Yes. Very J-pop. It's not J-pop, dude. Like that. That shot right there. That's what I'm talking about. And the fucking power glasses and power suits of the 80s. Japan on the economic rise. Those skates, the member berries. Yes, I also remember when in 85 I was in this video, a powerful Japanese businessman in the bubble era. Yep. There's like a bunch of series of the I Feel Coke 80s Japan ads. You can really feel the economic power of Japan as they're full of optimism. So like this look. Short hair. Still have like some kind of earring. Darker eyebrows. Rimmed glasses. Proper lipstick. It's not supposed to be masculine. It's supposed to exude femininity, but also have masculine elements to so that it also feels like powerful as well. And then you get the wide suits and stuff. This is just my senior year picture. Unfortunately, that fashion age has died along with your senior year. I like how the most unrealistic parts of the ads was nobody having fucked up teeth. What, from drinking Coca-Cola nonstop? Fashion nowadays feels like, how can I say I do X, but also I want to have sex? Yeah, I agree with that. Fashion in the 80s was like, how can I say that I'm a powerful deal maker on Wall Street or whatever? This hand gesture here, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of difficulty trying to figure out what I want to do with it. How much sugar does Japanese Coke have? The same amount that American Coke has. It's not like Mexican Coke. I'm aware my mom teased me when I got it by saying I look like an 80s businesswoman. Unfortunately, 80s businesswoman and business as a whole is dead now. Now that we don't even have business. We just have financial executives gambling on different forms of stock bullshit. Although I guess that was what it was in the 80s, but at least in the 80s there was like a sense of like you were doing some sort of depraved shit when you were using a shit ton of Coke and not the Coca-Cola Coke, the cocaine version of Coke. Now it's just like that's the default. It's the only thing that's left. We just have a recession. I mean, we have a recession, but also we have like mass amounts of financial bullshittery That might be a bigger problem than the recession, so... Powder or crack cocaine? If you're working on Wall Street, I assume you got access to the good stuff. So, back in the 80s, it was all powder, baby. It was all about going and powdering your nose. You were really feeling the coke. It was a less sophisticated time because we didn't have access to a shit ton of crystal meth and crack back then. We weren't enlightened, so we thought incorrectly that crack cocaine was something for the black people in the ghettos to do. But now we're smarter and we realize that the guys in the hood, they were onto something. We're wiser now. Crack is the best cocaine, guys. Just kidding, Twitch. I would never support the use of crack cocaine in my stream. Using drugs is bad. It really is. As someone who uses zero drugs, but took a little bit of alcohol back in the day. It's pretty shocking how much time and money we invest in consuming a substance that usually makes us feel like shit after we're done using it. Reagan mentioned. Why is everyone so anti-Reagan, guys? I don't understand. He just wanted to bring America back to greatness. The during is the good part, yeah. In my case, I have no alcohol tolerance, so I don't even get the good part. I just immediately go from drinking a little bit of alcohol to the hangover. I immediately just get sick. I get to skip the fun part altogether. I maybe have about 30 seconds of having a buzz, as they call it, and then it's off to the I feel sick already. I haven't really decided how I want to do the hair. To what degree of realism I want to do with the hair, the sexo hair. Alcohol sucks more the older you get. One of my favorite things to do is reading the New York Times comments whenever there's like a study published about alcohol where it's like any amount of alcohol is probably bad for you, and then if you go to the comments section, there's all these fucking boomers who are like, actually, I've drank alcohol my entire life and I still run marathons. I'm super healthy. I will continue to drink alcohol, thank you. People get so fucking pissed when there's all these studies that show up and they have to consider not drinking. It's like the ultimate thing that triggers these boomers. They just alcohol to the boomer is what, crystal meth is to our generation, or ketamine. What's our favorite drug, fellow Zoomers? For the boomers, telling them they're not allowed to drink alcohol because it's bad for them is just like denying their entire personality. So there's just all sorts of boomers who just fucking lose their mind. It's pretty funny. Fent lace coke. I think it's probably like fent lace weed, actually. The current generation's drug is being like, no, it's just weed. It's perfectly fine. It's completely healthy. And then getting like some super engineered version of marijuana that has like 10 million times the THC content of previous weed, and then like getting super paranoid and like shooting yourself or something. I feel like that's our generation's alcoholism. Or just getting like a batch that's been laced with fentanyl or something. Funny gas for Zoomers for sure, yeah. Get that NOS. Millennials love weed. For millennials, it's definitely weed. I don't know about the Zoomers, but for millennials, it's weed. Think about how much of our culture growing up, if you're a millennial, it was just like weed, LMAO. We've had entire movies that are just like, the entire joke is we're smoking weed. I guess the previous generations had that with Cheech and Chong, but our generation, we really did that. If you're over 30 years still doing weed LMAO memes, I have zero respect for you. Vape Nation, you're all... I mean, I just did that with my fucking Final Fantasy VII artwork. The joke is Tifa is receiving a prank call. But the real joke is that Cloud is lighting up in the background, am I right, fellow millennials? Haha, Cloud has a bong. Ain't that funny? I just wanted to draw Cloud and the boys getting it on. Smoke weed every day. Remember how there was a brief period in which Snoop Dogg was like renouncing weed and calling himself Snoop Lion and stuff? I'm pretty sure that phase of Snoop Lion's career has ended and he's back to just basing his entire personality around being rich and smoking weed, but he was having his that's his midlife crisis without a doubt. That did not last long, yeah. I don't think anybody expected it to last longer than like a few days, honestly. We're like, yes, I'm sure this is the last time Snoop is smoking weed. Surely he will not be going back. He's done for good. Snoop is a Long Beach local who is a Steelers fan who performed at Trump's inauguration. His entire life is an identity crisis. I mean, he really likes sports in general. I think he just likes turning his brain off. And getting high and watching various sports teams do things is a pretty good way to just be completely zoned out. only thing he's now is Martha Stewart. That's what happens when you get old as a rapper. You either die, you get arrested, or you become a uncool geezer and you can't keep track of all the weird mumbling that the younger rappers are doing. Even Eminem has his fucking kids in his music videos now, so it comes for all of us. Poop dog, sniff brap every day. I will not time out Constrictor for that comment. He's gonna have to try harder. Snoop actually did fuck Martha Stewart, by the way. When? When she was old or when she was younger? All the white ladies out to get that double D. Snoop Diggity double D. Older. I mean, I guess good for him and her. He down for that shit, I guess. He ain't a poser like me. He knows what he wants. Have you ever tried Martha's drink recipes? I don't think I've tried anything made by Martha Stewart. Whether her recipes or her... whether it's food recipes, drink recipes, any of her products. I might have had some kind of Martha Stewart bed sheets or something when I went to college. I think that's the extent. Martha brand Futon-chan. I don't think I ever actually got any Martha Stewart stuff, now that I think about it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever consumed anything produced by Martha Stewart. Growing old is tough. It's not that bad as long as you aren't trying to hang on to whatever advantages you had being young. Growing old is tough for people who really enjoyed being young and they were maximum utilizing their youth. The most obvious example of this is females who get a lot of societal benefits just by being a young female because society is, without saying this part out loud, is saying you have a functional uterus and we need you to, we want to put babies in you so you can produce more stuff. And when the visual appearance of you no longer indicates you are of breeding age. Suddenly, people aren't as interested in you, and you don't get to be like, excuse me, I'm an extremely valuable white woman anymore. This is the greatest fear for white women, which is why they have to inject themselves with Botox. In exchange, we just get creepy attention from grown men in the moment we hit puberty. I'm not saying that you get the attention from the people you want, but yeah, when you're valuable, you get a lot of creepy people that are after the valuableness of you. It's like walking around with like a giant fucking gold chain around your neck as if you're like a rapper or something. Or that rapper that had like an actual jewel in his forehead. It was only a matter of time before it got ripped out of his forehead, you know? That's the equivalent of female sexiness. You get all this attention and value for people who are valuing you legally, and then you get ugly bastard rapist who is like, I'm just gonna rip the jewel out of your forehead. Can you give her bigger boobs? She looks like a child. Good job, Constrictor. I'm gonna time you out now. You've successfully gotten your 74th timeout. I feel you're giving him what he wants. Well, what I want was also for him to shut the fuck up, so... mission accomplished, I guess. We both got what we want. Wish I could have done more with the early 20s, but the pandemic happened. Feel like I missed out. I think everybody feels like they missed out in their early 20s, though. I don't think you're actually, like, even if there isn't a pandemic. I didn't do shit after I graduated college for like 8 months. Then I went to Japan, tried to find a job, couldn't find a job, and then loitered around being a lifeguard from all the way from... So from 2010 to 2012, I was like fucking stuck in a holding pattern. And at the time, I was like, this is inevitable because of the pandemic. But in retrospect, I think you're just kind of lost in your 20s because, like, you don't know how to become an adult. If you can get out of your 20s without having done something incredibly regrettable and stupid, like backpacking to Europe and then having a lot of unprotected sex and coming back with like 18 STDs, then you probably ended up winning the whole thing. That's good. You're just going to have to consider that to be good enough. If you don't do any kind of permanent damage to yourself by doing stupid shit, you're just going to have to call that a win. That's how I look at it. It's when you realize everything you learned about life as a teenager was bullshit. And also that you're in $100,000 of college tuition debt and your major doesn't give you any gainful employment, all that fun stuff. And then realized clubbing was stupid outside of discovering new music. Yes. Clubbing is definitely one of the things that you can really waste a lot of your 20s on. If you're still clubbing when you're like 40, then yeah, you might need to rethink some things. I knew a few people who are. I guess it depends on the amount of drugs you're using while clubbing. It's a good way to not have any savings, that's for sure, considering how much it costs. Good luck getting any savings if you're fucking going to the club every weekend. I tried clubbing, but I can't take it. Crowded and super loud don't go well with being autistic. I, too, when I was going to college and stuff, thought that I should pretend that I enjoy moving my body surrounded by a lot of other people doing shit and, like, dancing and stuff. And then within, like, an hour, I realized I was just pretending to do the thing that I was supposed to be doing and not actually enjoying it. And I promptly quit. And I never went to any clubs. And that was probably the right choice. Not probably, it was definitely the right choice. Just be yourself, guys. Insert Pepe being a bee image. You're not going to be able to maintain any hobbies that you don't actually enjoy. Everybody who says they want to draw, just draw. Do you actually want to draw? Or do you want to be a person that everyone will be like, oh my god, you can draw? That is the question. Maybe you don't actually want to draw. I'm calling people out. It seems like you're not a real artist, you don't actually like drawing, but the truth is that it's kind of, it's not really the same as other hobbies, because if you want to be able to draw, you have to go through like 20 years of like looking at your own art and being like, god, this looks like absolute dog shit, when am I going to get better? So it's extremely painful for so fucking long that it's kind of hard to judge it based on those standards. I hated people coming up to me and saying, oh my god, can you draw me? So true. You should just draw ugly caricatures of them. I was so antisocial that was never really a problem though. I think I give off so much like this guy is a psychotic antisocial loner energy that people don't really approach me. The autism causes my face to immediately like constrict and show very clearly that I don't want to spend time with this person, so I'd be like, yeah, sure. I found a picture I drew when I was 9 the other day. It was painful. I would say that I was gonna be like, no, that's your charming childhood stage. I love seeing my childhood pictures, but then when I consider the developmental speed of girls, maybe you were entering the cringe phase of your drawing period, so maybe that wasn't the case. Was it an image of Sonichu Sasuke doing his Mangekyo Sharingan? I did what most guys do, hung out with a group of guys I hated because we had vaguely similar interests. Yeah. I think the reason why I have such, like, nostalgia for JRPGs and stuff is, like, I like the concept of, like, you being the main character out of a group of people that you all like each other, and then you have like a broader overarching goal which you can all work toward. I think it's like what we all want. We want to be like the main character, we want to be like the most important person, but we also want to be in a group. You can always be the most important person in your real life if you don't like actually enter a group, right? You don't have to make any sacrifices as long as you're alone, but we're tribal animals, so we all want to be in these social groups, but then you have to deal with people you don't like, and you might not necessarily get to be the main person, right? So the JRPG appeals to that. When you're playing Persona 4, you're not Yosuke or whatever. You're fucking Giga Chad, who all the girls like. False, I am canonically the main character. I often think of myself as the loud, annoying friend character in the rom-com or dating sim who doesn't get any girls because he's too obnoxious, but exists so that the main character doesn't look like he's gay. It's like, look, the main character, he has has male friends. It isn't just with like girls all the time. Look at this silly, non-threatening male friend he has, who is in no risk of NTRing his harem. The Mineta position. I don't care if I'm the main character. I want to be the weird quest character. I definitely am the weird quest character myself. Also, I just want to be left alone. I just don't want to have to subject myself to the whims and bullshittery of other people who think that they are, in fact, the main character. You only get to be the main character if you actually are the main character, and in which case I will be willing to do sub-character things for you. Like, if you're LeBron or Tom Brady, you can be the main character. This is what we mean by when we say, like, men capitulate to alpha males, is that they're willing to give the main character space when they see, like, inherent leadership. The thing is that actual main characters, or actual alpha males, not like male influencers, tend to spend a lot of time caring about the non-main characters around them. This is something I noticed when I was, like, a manager for the basketball team in college. The actual Chads, the real alpha males, they spend a lot of time, like, paying attention to less popular guys and stuff, and making sure that everybody is good and shit. And then everybody follows them because they know that that guy is gonna, you know, look after them if something bad is happening. They appreciate it. It's not like the Andrew Tate alpha male is like, oh, you don't need to give a shit about that stupid beta pussies. You lead. It's like, actually leading, a lot of being a leader is taking care of the people below you so they have loyalty to you. This is why Trump is a really bad leader. I think we already knew that, but Trump has never cared about anybody below him at any point in his life. So the only reason that people follow him is because, well, they think they can get shit out of it, but they don't actually see him as in any kind of leadership role. Pam Bondi getting fired. I was listening to a podcast with Rachel Lindsay, the Black Bachelorette candidate, and she's doing some like left-wing political shit in podcasting right now. And this was when Kristi Noem had got fired. And in the podcast, she was pointing out, she was like, I have a theory that Trump has only hired these women around him so he can jettison them as soon as things get bad. He finds them more expendable than other men. And I was like, oh, come on. That's like an exaggeration. Trump fires everybody. He thinks everybody is expendable. It's not just a female thing. But I guess Rachel Lindsay was right when she was predicting that, because lo and behold, after Kristi Noem, now we're getting Pam Bondi. They really were jettisoned the first when shit started to go bad faster than anybody else. So I guess she was right about that one. If you are a female attaching yourself to Trump, you should expect this. But they weren't smart enough, I guess, to see that coming. They're like the chafe things, the chaff, I don't know how you pronounce it, that your fighter planes fire off when they got a missile on their tail to distract the heat signature. Just eject Pam Bondi. Now Blanche took her place. Wait, is this the new person? Who is it? Is it a new, like, Fox News, like, literal Fox News female? New Attorney General. No, it's a man. Todd Blanche. Oh, I thought it was the first name. "51-year-old Denver-born former federal prosecutor Blanche has defended Trump in a range of cases, including several criminal prosecutions in which the president pleaded not guilty but were dropped after he won the 2024 election. LMAO. Not only is he Trump's lawyer, he's not even a good lawyer. I guarantee you this was his plan for a long term. I don't know, man. I don't know if Trump has any plans. Plans would suggest that he was, like, thinking about this. I just think he just does shit instinctively. And I think on an instinctual level, he considers women to be expendable. So, like, he doesn't really need to plan for this. Whenever someone was like, this was Trump's plan, I was like, nah, I don't think he was planning. That's kind of like saying it was like a tiger's plan to bite you at some point. It's like, they don't need to plan for that shit. They just do it. The face-eating leopards always plan to eat your face. The whole Trump being like, I am bored of the war in Iran. Opening the Strait of Hormuz is somebody else's problem. Is like the pinnacle of Trumpism, by the way. He's taking his ball and going home because he's angry that things aren't going his way. I've said for a while that Trump is like the absolute worst person to have ever become president, but like, I can't think of someone less fit to be president than Trump. Even if like you were designing in a lab, I don't think you would be able to find someone who is less fit to be president than Trump. It's pretty funny that he got elected twice. It's pretty crazy. There are many things that he doesn't plan, then there are some things that his corporate cronies have planned for him. Yeah, we could play a game called Stephen Miller or Trump's id. Which is controlling this? Besides the corporate cronies, there's also, like, you know, the nativist racist branch that has, you know, been able to get in his ear. Actually, we could play the game of who planned this? U.S. government edition. A. There's no Trump super ego in this because he has no morality. Am I forgetting anyone? The lion, Trump does not concern himself with constructing the Mexico wall. Putin? I guess Putin is like the wild card here. Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Putin. Yeah, the think tanks are basically like the Stephen Miller group. He was part of the think tanks. I think Steve Bannon wishes what he was in this list, but he's definitely out of Trump's orbit now, I think. I think this might be it, but I guess besides a corporate lobbyist, we can also have other lobbyists, in which I'll put evangelicals. Here's the special option. Voters. Does Trump care what the voters think? He does not. Do we count Elon to Stefan? Yeah, I mean, Elon's probably out of the zone now. There's the whole financial system as a whole. I mean, a lot of that is Trump's id because he's just like straight up getting direct monetary donations from the financial system through whether it's his shitcoin or like the gambling markets and stuff like that. Maybe that's more of an ego thing instead of the id. It's hard to tell where Trump's id ends and Trump's ego begins. Bannon forever fated to be a beta orbited to Trump and Epstein. Bannon really is a beta. It's very interesting what he is. Like, he can never seems to be able to get into, like, the actual inner circle. And it's clear that he wants to be, but they don't let him in. I think he might be a little too smart and not enough ass-kissy, actually. Maybe that's giving him too credit, but maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I don't think he kisses ass hard enough when he's actually around them. Even though he kisses ass a lot, like, in general, out of the space, but I don't think he does it in a way that's, like, appealing to Trump enough. In a way that Trump can really feel it. That's my guess. Jeb. Elon is a joke at this point. Remember when Elon wasn't a joke? I can't. No, there was a long period in which Elon wasn't a joke, actually, when everyone was like, he's the, you know, he's controlling everything. He's a tech genius, or I hate him, etc. Now he's just like neither. Nobody can actually care. People don't have time for him. He's not a threat or anything, really. He's just an overvalued CEO. Let me on the island, bro. Yeah, you know that it's a good sociological study, right? How the difference between class and status. Weber on class and status. AI overview. Max Weber proposed a multidimensional model of social stratification, class, status, party that expanded beyond Karl Marx's economic determinism. Weber defined class by economic, market-based life chances, status by social honor or prestige, and party by political power. These dimensions often overlap but can exist independently, creating complex inequality. Class economic order, based on a person's market situation, their wealth, skills, and ability to acquire goods. Status groups, based on social estimation of honor, prestige, or lifestyle. Status groups are communities often defined by education, consumption patterns, or shared lifestyle. Party political order, organized groups like political parties or unions. So, often when we talk about class versus status, one of the things we talk about is like old money versus new money. And like Trump would be the ultimate example of like someone who had supposedly had higher class because he was new money, but didn't have as much high status groups, which is why he was never allowed into like the actual New York elite of old money. People thought he was a vulgar piece of shit, which he was. He doesn't get to party with the Rothschilds, right? But then you have guys like Epstein, who was definitely supposedly dealing with like higher status groups, and people like Trump and Prince Andrew were allowed in that like higher status group. And then Elon became like the ultimate version of someone who has a shit ton of class, as in a shit ton of money, but then he wasn't allowed in the club get on the island, bro. He wasn't allowed to go to the island, so the whole situation is pretty funny as a bystander if you can ignore the whole, like, you know, 13-year-old being sold as a prostitute part of it. I often wonder how many other islands there are that we don't even know about. I mean, isn't the entirety of Dubai basically just Epstein Island? If you're a female influencer, they're like, we will give you $50,000 for a night, and you're like, oh, surely nothing bad will happen to me, and then they find your broken body on the street corner 8 months later or something. Elon just exudes bully me vibes. He really does. But a lot of the tech bros are like that. I mean, the most obvious example of this, I feel, is, I forgot his name, but the guy who's the head of Anthropic right now. Mark Zuckerberg is also up there, but I've never seen someone that made me want to, like, beat the shit out of them and stuff them into a locker harder than the Anthropic CEO. Anthropic CEO interview.
Very well. Welcome everybody
back. And I think throughout all of this, the approach that I have tried to take and the approach that Anthropic has tried to take is one of constancy, of saying that there is balance here. And balance of a very strange form, because I think the technology is very extreme in what it's capable of doing. But I think its positive impacts and its negative impacts, that, you know, they both exist, right? I wrote this essay, Machines of Loving Grace, about a year and a half ago. It had a very radical view of the upside of AI, that, you know, it would help us to
nerd.
You know,
also, is there any chance this guy isn't Jewish? He looks like a racist Jewish caricature. Am I wrong about this? San Francisco. Italian-American leather craftsman. He does have the curly hair. He 100% looks like a tribe member. He has like the hook nose and the curly hair, but it's saying he's Italian. Oh, yeah. His mother, Elena Engel, a Jewish American born in Chicago, worked as a project manager. The mother side was strong. He does have like the round, like chunky faceness, like that we get from, you know, Italian plumbers and soprano stars and stuff like that. The gabagool. But just watching him talk for like 3 minutes,
tropical diseases, you know,
it just makes me want to be like, I'm calling out to all the Chad Thundercocks. I know you've retired from bullying nerds, but this is a public call to you. We need you now more than ever. I need you to come back and beat the shit out of this nerd right now. Society as a whole needs you, Chad. I know you've settled down with your cheerleading wife and have like 5 kids by now, but you need to come back and just beat the shit out of this guy, please. The entire world's economy depends on you, Chad Thundercock. I bully him by using Grok. Unfortunately, you have to pay for Grok now. I think I'm going to make the boobs a little bit more perky here. I want tits like Kristi Noem's husband. I heard that he was being harassed and he's just like a normal guy, but I didn't know he had rocking tits. Holy shit. Damn, those are some crazy tits. He fucking has erect nipples? What the hell is going on there? This looks like some time onion shit right here. Is this like a hentai or something? How the fuck, what kind of a photo is this? Did he think that this was like a good photo of him? How did this even happen? It looks like it was fucking photoshopped, but I can't imagine a guy was like, would Photoshop his own photo to make it look like he has double D fake tits or something. How does this get like this? Is it just like the light or the angle? So it doesn't look like in any of the other photos like his, I mean this you can sort of see the boobs right here. He's 50 by the way, maybe he's taking testosterone. It seems like something that the husband of like a Fox News person would be doing. It was fake tits, but why would he be wearing fake tits? What's the benefit of that to a man? I just need to draw the rib cage here first. Just make the tits so big you can't see the rib cage. What if I do something besides timing him out? Warn Constrictor. I've never tried warning him. There. That should teach him a lesson. He was sending that pics to a hooker. Of course he'd send to someone being paid to look at it. Why can't he just send like a normal cock pic like a normal guy? Why does he have to show his boobs? He fucking looks like a Taimanin character there. Crazy shit is crazy. Of course, the size of her mammaries is perfectly adequate, Mr. Bald. I was foolish to suggest otherwise. Thank you. I'm glad you learned your lesson. By the way, I got permaban from the anime channel on 4chan back in the day, and I got tired of being permabanned. So I sent an apology letter to the mods, and they unbanned me. So I guess it does work. Interesting how that is. I was memeing a little too hard, Mr. Mod. I'm sorry. And they were like, okay. I remember this story. Yeah. I got banned for trolling because I drew a image of Medaka from Medaka Box getting fucked by a horse. I wasn't banned for pornography, by the way. It was for trolling. And it was like instead of a 3-day ban, I got permabanned. This was back when I still had value. I still found value in posting on 4chan, but now I can't bother with that shit, so... That's not ban-worthy. Mods can ban you for any reason at any time, guys. Never forget that. Donkey Kong Country Final Fantasy style remix. Truly, the AI slop clickbait engine is in full power now. I wonder if they just, like, even asked AI to be like, please think of a concept for creating AI slop music that will get lots of clickbait. Not Reddit, it was Discord. Is Discord the place where you can actually get banned the easiest? I often hear stories about how like there's like psycho mods in Discord. I got banned once on Twitch for saying League players are subhuman. It was a joke, but it's kind of real, to be honest. I mean, if you consider the acts that they engage in, which is just endlessly grinding against the horrific gameplay and the horrible community, then yeah. It's kind of like a, you know what the definition of insanity is kind of shit. Doing the same action and expecting a different result. These people are all playing the same game forever and expecting shit to somehow get better. Discord mods are bad, but Reddit mods are even worse. I mean, there is that one Reddit mod that came out recently because he got in trouble for promoting like a fucking scam, and he was exactly what you would expect from a Reddit mod, so the reputation is well earned. The Golden Smurf tries to post fan art on any anime page and gets banned. It's crazy. They're cocks, all of them. What? They're trying to post their own artwork on a Reddit page and then they get banned? Which site are you talking about? Why do they do that? Is it? I'm assuming it's just like one mod though, right? Usually when that happens, it's not like multiple guys, but just like one guy who just really doesn't like that specific person for some reason. And it's usually like completely personal. Like they were in a forum with them at one point and the guy said that their OC character looked stupid or some shit. And this was like 15 years ago. Okay, this Donkey Kong music is getting annoying. It's too hyperactive. It was Streamer Mansion, yes. It was some scam. 7 mods moderate 80% of Reddit. That's a real thing, no exaggeration. Makes you really think. I mean, it's the same category of people that do things like edit or write Wikipedia pages, right? People who desperately want some modicum of control in their lives. And the only way they can get it is wasting their time being an unpaid... Well, maybe they're paid. I can't remember. Are Reddit mods paid? I know that 4chan Jannies aren't paid, but the 4chan mods are paid. So if you want to make fun of Jannies, the whole thing is they do it for free, etc. Mods are not supposed to be paid. Usually not for Reddit. One of my favorite AI songs of all time is this just extremely unpopular, not known Clean It Up Janny song that I found when I was... I just thought the anime part was done very well. I mean, isn't that just great lyrics? Invisible hero, no one knows your name. Oh no, no, no. I just really like the lyric, invisible hero, nobody knows your name, because I think it's actually kind of true. Places that don't have mods and don't have janitors really actually do become extremely shit. In fact, they become completely unusable. Because if you have no moderation and if you have some amount of population, eventually people are going to start posting child porn, and now you have like an actual like risk to the entire site. So it is actually a completely thankless job that is 100% necessary for the internet to function. That's the funny part. But that doesn't stop us from just endlessly making fun of these people, and it doesn't change the fact that they deserve to be made fun of. Like, that really is the truth. If, like, you don't have the Jannies and you don't have the mods, like, eventually somebody starts posting child porn and then your site gets shut down. But, of course, that doesn't change the fact that these people who, like base their entire personality around being a Reddit mod are like some of the most pathetic losers on the planet. Because they are. Being an internet maid sure is an experience. Hystrixia, before taking her break from the Discord, was like, I need to unmod me so I don't have to deal with this shit. Imagine prioritizing your pregnancy over your important job of being a mod of a fucking minuscule Discord channel. So disappointing that she didn't have the sense of duty that I require out of every mod when I ask them to send me their resume. Hystrixia expecting child. I'm talking about it now because she talked about it last stream. I was hiding it because she hadn't chosen to say anything. But she notified that she was gone because she had to shit out a baby. The spawn took precedence. Although I would figure that it takes more time to deal with it now that it's out of the womb. I mean, if you're pregnant, like, do you have to do anything besides, like, not drink alcohol? Crazy to think somebody had sex in this chat. It's not fair, though. Women are playing on easy mode when it comes to having sex. You can be like a literally vegetable state female, and like the hospital worker will try and rape you, so they're playing on absolute very easy journalist mode when it comes to the having sex part. Not eat raw fish or cured meat. I mean, you shouldn't be eating cured meat at all at this point. We have too much evidence that it's like cancer causing. Not drink over a certain amount of caffeine. Apparently my mother cut all caffeine when I was in the womb to the point where she didn't even have any like chocolate for 9 months. Which, you know, I complain about my mother a lot, but I can't complain about her dedication to like living a healthy lifestyle when she wants to be disciplined to like not do stupid shit. At least I didn't get fetal alcohol syndrome. I was retarded in another way, but my mother wasn't being like, oh, 1 glass of wine is fine. At least she wasn't like that, so I don't want to be molested by an orderly like in Kill Bill. Don't worry, you won't be conscious, so you won't know. The Kill Bill, Buck, my name is Buck because I like to fuck guy, got in trouble because she woke up at exactly the wrong moment, but if she had woken up at a slightly different time, he would have gotten away with it scotch-free. Avoid lifting too much after a certain point. That too. Women need to be stop being pussies just because they're carrying a baby and go out and start hauling those giant sacks of grain working on the farm. Remember, true equality means you have to do the exact same labor as men by carrying heavy objects even though you're pregnant. If you're a third world country female and being asked to do like menial labor in the fields and stuff, they 100% will still ask you to do it even if you're pregnant. There was like a New York Times article about it that instead of asking pregnant women to do the job, I think this was like sugar companies that were supplying sugar for like PepsiCo India or whatever, were asking the female farm hands to get, what do you call it? The one where they remove your ovaries. Hysterectomies, is that correct? Not the vasectomy, the thing where they remove your ovaries so women wouldn't have their periods and get pregnant, so they could be like full-time farm slaves without any downtime. I was like, shit, this is like true gender equality right there. They're literally asking you to remove your ovaries just so you can be like a better farm worker. Yeah, hysterectomies, I can't say it. I walked 18 miles 3 days in a row and wasn't dying, unlike the baby daddy. I mean, walking is probably fine, right? Even in long spurts. As animals, we would have had to be walking all the time during evolution. So there's no way that walking can be that bad for you, as long as you're not trying to, like, do powerlifting shit. They still do that in India, apparently. Yeah, it was about Indians. India, probably still the most fucked up country. Just because they have, like, the whole baked-in caste system in which they can get people to do all sorts of, like, crazy-ass bad shit. They'll be like, no, the Dalit has to do it because they were bad in their previous life. This is how God intended. As long as well-paced and had proper footwear. Are you doing this in California, though? I don't want to be out in the... walking around for 18 miles in the Californian mountains. There's all these, like, fires and mountain lions and shit. Oh, this was Dublin? Okay, that seems a little bit nicer. Yeah, I'd rather be in Dublin than California, for sure. Actually, we killed off most of the mountain lions because we are trash, but the mountain lion might kill my poodle. Honestly, I'm really enjoying the amount of nature I get to live around. It's not like I have a ton of nature, it's just like, how do you call it, the suburban ecosystem that I'm around right now in this location in Japan. There's a lot of, like, water birds, so there's this whole canal system that goes around. Like, I live in this, like, these massive cyberpunk style huge 20-story buildings that it definitely looks like cyberpunk landscape at night. But then there's this, like, this waterway system, and there's like another island, and then the ocean is out here. But there's this waterway that has like a jogging track around it, and you can't tell when it's cloudy, but when it's sunny, if you look inside the waterway, there's all these massive fucking fish. Like, they're not carp, but they're like carp sized, and there's like thousands and thousands of them. Like, they basically occupy the entire canal system. So then there's all these birds that, like, are grazing on the moss on the side of the canal, but they're just like straight up cormorants. I think it's called cormorants. In Japanese, it's called just cormorant. Yeah, there's like diving cormorants that just like are floating around on the top of it and going in and like diving in and eating fish. There's herons. Of course, there's crows everywhere as well. But it's a really interesting ecosystem. The giant salamanders are not in the waterway. If they are, they ain't coming out. Any dog that's breed ends in oodle needs to be thrown into the sun. I don't think I've seen any poodles around here. It's mostly Shiba. Every once in a while, there's like a rich guy who has a golden retriever. It's either Shiba or even smaller dogs that you can have inside. Any kaijus? I mean, the fish are big enough, they may as well just be a kaiju. The ocean is right there, so I just need to swim out into the ocean to get swallowed by a giant squid or something, if I want my kaiju experience. My friend used to dog grooming hated doodle mixes for a reason. I thought poodles have okay personalities. I think I've heard like both sides. Some people say that poodles have perfectly fine personalities, and other people are like, "Now fuck those." I don't really know what to think. I don't want a poodle either way because I don't like the hairstyle and stuff, but. The question is, do I want a dog? And the answer is probably no. Doodles are emissaries of Satan. She hated the texture of the hair combined with the owners never brushing them. I mean, that's why they're paying her to be a groomer, right? Is that they don't want to have to deal with that shit. They're offloading their labor onto a professional. I don't want any pets right now. Maintaining myself is too much work already. I have to do my own grooming. I don't want to be grooming my pet and feeding my pet. I'm too lazy to even feed myself. Why haven't we made a bald dog breed yet? They have. There's bald dogs and bald cats. But those aren't really the interesting bald animals. The interesting bald animals are the ones that are like wild animals that have some sort of disorder so that they look fucking insane. Bald chimpanzee. This Giga Chad. Look how fucking powerful this guy looks. Every man on steroids wishes they could have achieved this kind of monkey core. Get a jumping spider, they barely need anything, and there's probably one near you already. There were jumping spiders all the time when I was living back in the States because I was living on the ground floor. The thing about living on the 16th floor is that you don't get any bugs because they don't come up this high unless they're like stowing away in the elevator. No bugs. For some people, this is a really good thing. I don't know if I miss having all these house centipedes all the time around me. But, I'm definitely alone up here. No real bugs. Don't get a wild jumping spider, they might be pregnant. I don't see what the problem is. I can afford to feed 2 spiders instead of 1, he said. How many spider babies could that possibly result in? Imagine if people gave birth to the same number of children as spiders and stuff did. We could solve our population problem so quickly. Even if the incels were not properly having sex, we just need one woman to shit out 80 spiders, 200 spiders at a time. Murder wouldn't be a crime punished so harshly. I mean, you already see that shit in, like, countries with high populations, like India and China, where they're just like, yes, like, I mean, murder is still punished harshly, but, like, people just don't care when, you know, there's some mass industrial accident or something that kills, like, 50 people. They're like, we'll just have to hire some more people, right? Are you going to save the JAV industry? I am not going to save the JAV industry. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, BaalBuddy did not save the JAV industry. I don't even watch JAVs anymore. I don't watch porn involving real people anymore. I'm just like 100% 2D now. I used to be like, today I will masturbate to a real human. I should do this every once in a while so I don't become too anime brain. But now I don't even do that. It's just all anime all the time. You only read hentai or animated stuff too? Every once in a while, I'll watch animated hentai. But I prefer reading, because then you can kind of pause on the page that you want to come to. Being able to control the progression of the story is really helpful when you're jacking off, I think. It's a very specific benefit. No more unhinged Chikan harassing new mother with unnecessary 5-minute sequence of him leading her somewhere. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, which is everyone, one night I was introducing Hystrixia to this just random Chikan video I found. It was a JAV in which he starts molesting her, I think on a bus, but then as is often the case in Chikan videos, it's like, okay, now we're gonna get off so I can do more shit to you in a less public place. So, of course she gets off with him because this is fiction. But in this case, I guess there wasn't any real editor who was like, we need to get to the point. So there was this real-time video following them. They get off the bus, and he's like, okay, he's gonna drag her into a love hotel, right? He just starts, like, holding her hand and just, like, dragging her as she follows behind him. And they keep on walking, and you're like, wow, this is pretty far off. And they're just, like, still walking for, like, 5 minutes. I was like, holy shit, they're still going. It's late. It's like, lady, where are you walking to? It was like literally somewhere between like a 5 to 10 minute walking sequence with the camera just following them. It's like they're still going. They got sponsored by the city to show off the area. That's the thing. They have to like censor everything. So having this super long walking sequence is just like adding a shit ton of work for the person who has to go and like censor all this shit. Because they can't show like obvious locations and stuff. So it's like most of the background is censored. You can't even see where they're going to. But they still have like this 10-minute walking sequence. I was just like, bro, where are you going to? Lady, just let go of his hand. You guys are going on a fucking hiking trip here. It was extremely funny. Sometimes porn is just like, oh my god, you people. The suspension of disbelief, what they ask you to suspend, is just too much and you just can't help it but be just like, LOL. I think I'm giving her too much hair curl. I think I'm going a little bit overboard. Also, the shape of the hair is too rounded and not spiky enough, I think is the problem here. I kind of need to revise the Hair is so important for drawing anime-style characters because it's how they differentiate between them. You have to get the hair right. The director wanted the editor to suffer. I hear that all the Japanese JAV censorship job people, like no matter how horny they are, after a month of doing that job, of just looking at vaginas nonstop, hours and hours and hours, day after day, it just fucks with your brain and you can't get an erection anymore. Like the female body no longer registers as information. It's one of those jobs that you'd hope that AI would be able to do for you, but I bet there isn't a like AI program that they've developed for it. Because if there's one thing we know about AI is that it actually doesn't actually take away any of the labor that you wish it would take out of. There's some JAV censorship job guy who's just like, oh god, please take my job, AI video. We need more bald representation in anime like the goat Nappa. Do you mean among the females or among the males? Because in the JAV industry, there's basically a video of everything. So I'm sure there's like one JAV where they shave the girl's head, and that's like someone's fetish if you look for it. On the male side, there's plenty of bald-ass male porn actors. Or at least there's one guy that I see keep on showing up in the same Chikan videos. He has a very distinct kind of like Oji-san doing... He's very vigorous in his cunnilingus and stuff. Can you make her slap her butt? No. I will not make her slap her butt. What a horrible idea. Does Chun-Li have an accent? I don't think so. I mean, they don't get to voice acting for quite a while, so... When she does say stuff, she just said, "Yeah! Yatta!" Or the thong snap. I guess that's an idea. She can be stretching her thong. That's a good idea. That'll add some dramatic tension to... By adding physical tension, we can also add dramatic tension to the image. Very nice and in character. God, I wish that sluts were real in real life. Ain't that right, boys? If only there were perverted, sexually promiscuous women in real life. God, I wish women were real. Ball's personality makes sense when you remember he's never seen a hot girl IRL before. I've certainly never touched one. No, I actually I got to touch my high school crush quite a bit for some reason. I tend to have good luck in terms of like the stars aligning with my personal preferences and shit. But I'm incapable of actually closing the deal because of the Spurg powers. But I got to do like the whole like she was the romantic partner for me in my mandatory high school play, in which roles were assigned to us by the acting teacher. So I didn't have to do anything. I basically had a lot of like main character energy in terms of like the shit that was handed to me on a plate. But because I am a Spurg, of course, I wasn't able to actually capitalize on that in any way. And that's okay, because she is now currently a Falun Gong worshipper, so we're fine. Of all the cults, the Shen Yun... Actually, I can't remember whether it was Falun Gong or which one it was. It was one of the Chinese things. But she went to California, so whatever cult she was going to get in, she was already going to be too far gone just by then, so... This was a Steiner school, so people were, a lot of them were going to get caught up in this hippie shit, just culturally. I can't tell if this makes sense from a three-dimensional perspective, but I think it does. It might not, but we're still going to draw. Maybe not. Trying to show too much is a very easy way to fuck up your three-dimensional, like being like, I should be able to see this, I want to be able to show this. Like the most common one of the anatomical mistakes that beginner artists often make is trying to draw poses in which you can show off both the face, the boobs, and the ass at the same time. This pose right here is basically the limit. You can show like the side of the boob if it's sticking out properly, and you can show the ass if it's not like straight, like full on at the front. But once you start being like, I want to have a pose in which the viewer can see all of the various sexually appealing parts of the female, you're just asking for trouble, usually. Classic female superhero twist, yeah. Most likely Falun Gong, especially if she was into dancing. Rudolf Steiner was a extremely crazy man, and he was able to successfully pass down his crazy hippie bullshit philosophies on an entire generation of easily influenced hippie leftist types, thanks to the schools that he set up. These are people who are really into stuff like crystals. Crystals are really where I draw the line, in which I think that, like, I ain't even gonna associate myself with you because I know that everything else you do is gonna be like stupid people who are like, here, hold on to this quartz. It has healing properties. Once we get into that zone, I'm like, I'm out. Please don't approach me. Somebody, please post the Shungite copy pasta. You know the one. What even is Shungite? Shungite. Shungite is either a diverse group of metamorphoses, Precambrian rocks of all which contain pyrobitumen and the pyrobitumen within these rocks. Anyways, I brought a whole bunch of shungite rocks. Do you know what a shungite is? Anybody know what shungite is? No, not shungite. I think he's locked up in prison. I'm talking about shungite. Anyways, it's a 2 billion year old like rock stone that protects against frequencies and unwanted frequencies that may be traveling in the air. That's my story. I bought a whole bunch of the stuff, put them around La Casa, little pyramids, stuff like that. That was the doc, right? Who said it? Gotta protect from the radio frequencies, boys. Benefits of shungite. If you Google image search for shungite, within the top three things, you're like protection from negative vibes, physical and spiritual healing, enhancing of metaphysical abilities. Oh yeah, definitely better get some of that shit. Water purification. Yes, the one and only cheating doc, Force in CD. Yes, I definitely need to enhance my metaphysical abilities, guys. I'm a successful streamer, so... Thank God I'm getting that physical and spiritual healing. Am I right? I just like my shiny-ass rocks. Shiny dildos, shiny rocks. Ain't gonna pretend they align chakras or some shit. I remember as a kid, like many children, I had like my personal rock collection. You'd just be walking around and be like, that's a neat rock. I'm picking it up. As adults, we're told that we're not allowed to do that. But as kids, we were like, no, this is my rock now. I fucking like that rock. I think I need to get some swash here. But not too much. What is the right amount of boob? The best angle? This is my rock. It was made for me. I had to throw away some of the rocks in the basement as I was moving to Japan. Or like, oh, these rocks, these are from my childhood rocks. I'm moving out, I have to get rid of them. Heartbreaking moment in which I have to throw away my pet rock. I'm a grown man now, and I have put away all my childish things, such as my rock. We'll just make the boob a little bit bigger. You should always keep a sizable rock on your bedside table for home defense purposes. Sometimes I unga, but sometimes I also bunga as well. I was right. I think I made them smaller again. It's not really the size. It's more of like the angle and the shape and stuff that's important here. Man, drawing is hard. Trying to find like the aesthetic angles and the aesthetic shapes and stuff. Even drawing with the references are hard. But when you're like trying to optimize the concept of the female body and what is most aesthetically good looking and stuff. I mean, I know as an artist I'm supposed to be like memeing on the AI prompters and being like, here's this pencil, pick it up. There's nothing that is gatekeeping you from drawing. You need to suffer just like us. I 100% understand why people don't want to suffer. Even Toriyama was like, I wish there was a machine that would draw a manga for me. Women, do you enjoy wedgies? I've only enjoyed it like once. I think in a lot of Chikan JAVs and stuff, there's a like segment in which the guy grabs the underwear and then pulls it up into the vagina area and then uses like the pressure of the underwear to stimulate her. I don't know if that actually works as like a form of vaginal stimulation or not. Maybe if you have the proper JAV male actor technique, it's possible. Maybe they're just doing it so you can see the outline of her vagina instead of like to actually stimulate the female. I don't know what the purpose is of that, but it's usually like a solid 2 minutes of like yanking the underwear up into her stimulation. What about what about stimulating yourself by rubbing your crotch against the side of the desk, the desk corner, the Code Geass Classic, as we like to call it, although it had been a trope for a long period before Code Geass brought it mainstream. Thinking about your lesbian senpai and rubbing her, rubbing your crotch on her desk corner to mark your territory. What? Do you not know about this? This was kind of a trope before Code Geass had it, but out of all the female characters in Code Geass, the one that has the least number of fans, male or female, by far is this character called Nina, who is an extremely uncute glasses nerd who is obsessed with, I forgot what female character, I think it was one of the princesses, and there's straight up a scene in which after school she's just like rubbing herself off on one of the corners of the desk. I love how Code Geass art style min-max characters having cat faces. It's unique while being very familiar. It's often said among the Japanese internet that the basis of the anime face is cat faces. So then Code Geass really like took that to the extreme, I guess. It's always funny how like white people are like anime characters are supposed to be white people. Always the dumbest fucking topic on the internet is white people being like, I find this fictional character in this stylized medium, I think they look attractive. That means they are white. Because if they look like Asians, they wouldn't be attractive. And these people have like no self-awareness how fucking racist they are. They're like, look at this attractive character. That means they are a white person. Because that's the only way you can explain being attractive, by being white. What, LMAO? Maybe you're not on 4chan enough, but this is a very common discussion, and it happens like repeatedly from like different people. Because there's so many casuals watching anime, there's constantly like white people being like, yes, Naruto is white. Look at his blonde hair. People actually say dumb shit like that. There's whole entire like images that people want to post. Are anime characters based on white Caucasian facial characteristics? Searching. The short answer is no, not directly, says the AI overview. While anime characters may often appear white or Western to viewers outside of Japan, a phenomenon sometimes called mukokuseki, meaning statelessness, they are generally not based on white Caucasian facial characteristics. And then there's like an entire fucking copy pasta. I mean, here's Facebook being like, why do anime characters often have white Caucasian characteristics? And they go through like all the profiles of Facebook. Look guys, here's a Japanese person, look at the wide nose. A Japanese person made this as well, so ignoring every white guy who has a wide nose, because we definitely don't have any of those. Yes, every white guy looks like this, guys. It's spread from the Japanese parts of the internet, I assume. And the Japanese and their inherent both interest in art styles and how characters are drawn. All of these were made by Japanese in the first, but then it spread to the internet of the white people as white people started watching more and more anime. And then they were like, look, I am the main character, I am Naruto. And now it's one of the dumbest brain-dead white people takes. When you have like a 14-year-old kid who just started watching anime. White people really do see themselves in everything. It's the dark side of like when black Tumblr writes, or like that character is black because they have darker skin. It's like, bro, you do realize there are people with tan skin that aren't black, right? It's the white person version of that. The flip side of this is when like you get Marvel comics and stuff, and you have a white person draw like an Asian person. Wolverine in Japan. Comics. Let's see if I can find one of the good classic panels of it. Shit, it's freezing up. They can't load it. Anyways, the Asian face when drawn by Marvel Comics is like, first you have to make the eyes like super fucking thin, because we all know the Asians have thin ass eyes. And you go like this, and then this is the most important part when white people draw the Asian, is that they give them like super high cheekbones. And this was probably influenced by Western POW and stuff experiences in Vietnam and Korea, who tend to have higher cheekbones than the Japanese. But then they put these characteristics on Japanese people as well, because they like go into the samurai zone. This is the average Asian ass face. The Lucy Liu face, this is the reason why Lucy Liu was like the most prominent and only Asian character in Hollywood, because she basically had these super high cheekbones, and this is what the Westerners thought that was like a proper Asian face for some reason. And then the straight katana, right? This one. The Teenage Ninja Turtles, and like any Marvel comic, they'll have this thing. They're like, oh, we can just, it's way easier to draw it if I just draw it like this, right? And basically no Japanese manga or anime will do that shit with katana. They'll 100% give it a proper slope. Look at this. And actually care about like whether it's a katana or a tachi, and how to hold it and shit like that. But Western comics, they do this shit. Japanese ladies call this the Pocahontas woman look. Yeah, the Pocahontas was 100% a part of that look. She was like the Asian American, except now she's a Native American version of this. Speaking of porn stars, I like a famous porn star called Tara Patrick. She had that Asian face, really strong. I don't know what ethnicity she was. Maybe she was like Filipino. She was too tall to be Filipino, though. I'm not sure. But she definitely embodied that. Let's see if I can find a Tara Patrick image in which she's not showing her nipples. Here's a somewhat safe for work image of her. You see the high cheekbones. She's Thai, yes. That makes sense. High ass cheekbones, arched brows, full lips. Plap, plap, plap. She got fake tits in her later career years, but for most of her earlier content, she had nice big boobs that weren't fake, which is what I liked about her. They were properly soft. Boob jobs at that time were very poorly done, so it was blatantly obvious if you had fake boobs as a porn star. They would always make them too big and too rounded. They just looked kind of hard. So Tara Patrick's proper natural boobs were a big appeal to her. This was when I still was, consuming real woman content. Fake tits are whack. Just don't get a boob job, women, please. I know I glaze women with bigger boobs, but you just have to come to terms with the fact that the woman with big natural titties, until they start to grow old and get saggy, will be more valuable than you. But you with a flat chest is more valuable than you with massive fake double D's stapled onto your chest. The men that you attract by having fake tits are not the kind of men that you want to have a relationship with, guys. I value sleeping on my stomach too much. I was enjoying sleeping on my stomach, and I checked whether it was okay to sleep on your stomach, and they're like, you shouldn't do that because it's bad for your spine. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll stop. I saw some sumo wrestlers sleeping on their stomach because they're overweight, so they all have like sleep apnea and stuff. And I was like, that looks kind of comfortable. I like sleeping on my stomach. And I was doing it for a while. But then I was like, okay, I probably shouldn't do it if it's fucking up my back. It wasn't fucking up my back, but the internet said I shouldn't do it. You a back or side sleeper? I can sleep on both back or the side without any real problem. Going to sleep is something I really don't have any problem with doing. One of the many things that I'm blessed to not have any issues. I can go to sleep immediately, so can my mother. Considering she doesn't sleep very much at all, she certainly is good at sleeping when she decides to actually get some sleep. I've seen her on like airplane rides from America to Japan that takes like 12 plus hours, and she just doesn't even like get up and move for like 12 hours straight. She's just like sleeping nonstop, and I'm like, God damn, Mom, that's really bad for you. You're gonna die from the deep vein thrombosis. So hopefully she's probably getting up and moving around once in a while now. But yeah, when she really wants to get just like fucking sleep hard, she can sleep super hard. I can't sleep that hard, but if I'm at home in a proper darkened environment, I can go to sleep immediately pretty quickly. Within like 1 or 2 minutes. Even if I'm trying to sleep at a weird hour, it's very rare for me to just be like staying up awake. I have to move on a plane or I get antsy. Yeah, me too. I need to get up and like do squats every hour or so. Or start to feel uncomfortable. It's also inconvenient because I fell asleep a lot of places I shouldn't, like class, lol. I think a lot of people can sleep in class, though. It's helpful because you have that desk, and you can just, like, slam your head on the desk and just go right there. Japanese people in general are really good at sleeping everywhere. That's what allows them to commute in trains all the time. Get in the seat. They're working 12 hours days, but they get to sleep in the train just a bit, and then they wake up at this spot, you know? The internal clock that allows them to conveniently wake up at the station they have to get off. That's really a Japanese thing. Americans who don't have the public transport gene could never successfully do that. Classes for sleeping, to be honest, nothing more. I kind of agree with that. No, I was always, like, fully awake in class. Class was like a drawing time for me. What do you think that notebook is for? It's not for taking notes. The notebook is for drawing big titty girls in between the notes. Sleeping train molestation. God, I wish trains were so empty that you could have space to get molested. A crowded trains, there is no molestation zone. You're just crammed. I was a gifted kid, so I slept through school with mostly A's. I can't tell when you type gifted if you mean you were in the retarded short bus class, or if you were actually like gifted and you could just get good grades even though you're sleeping, because both is possible. Sometimes both at the same time. You can have like kids who are both like in the retarded class and also get good grades like myself. Common autism issue. I don't know what to do with all this hair here. I guess we should just go the opposite direction. Look at this. Actually, gifted. If you can just get through school with minimal trauma, you're good. I like how there's a theory, it's probably not even a theory, but more like confirmed fact, that because Stephen Miller got bullied so hard when he was going to school in California, it made him like a racist fascist. The experience of being like vaguely conservative while he went to a Californian multi-diverse school, and then everybody making fun of him, is why he just wants to deport all the brown-skinned people from America. I think it's a great theory and probably true. Bangable girl train sex was one of the first hentai I saw at age 13. Good shit. Stephen Miller looks like he came out of the womb like a fucking lich. I would bully him too. I can only imagine how hard he got bullied by like the Chad Mexicans in his school when he was like, you guys should go back across the border. And then Juan is like, LMAO, listen to this stupid bitch, SAA. And then they just beat the shit out of him. And he's like, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to become part of Trump's cabinet and I'll deport all of you. Still a bitch, though. I'm surprised Twitch allows you to draw this. Not complaining, though. I mean, you can't see her vagina, theoretically. I don't know. Twitch isn't monitoring low viewership streams unless it was the one time in which they were like, you can have artistic nudity, and then everyone started drawing naked stuff, and then they had to ban everybody. Which is when I got banned for drawing the statue of David. Literal artistic nudity. Stephen Miller looks way worse than Lich. Stephen Miller... Trump. Is it Stephen Miller or Steven? He just looks like a really sad human being. He doesn't look like he's having much fun in life, does he? He has a lot of the same energy as, like, when you see black and white photos of, like, Hitler's Nazi cabinets and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's Goebbels. He definitely has, like, that kind of Goebbels-like energy to him. That's why he must attempt to spread the misery to others. I really do think that's his motivation. The other person that he kind of reminds me of is, well, actually, it doesn't remind me of. I was just thinking in terms of like liches. The closest we have to an actual lich as an NBA fan is fucking Adam Silver. He's like a fucking Giga Lich. He looks like an actual Sith Lord. He's also like super tall, I think. He's getting more and more Lich-like every time I see him. This is especially Lich-like photo right here. He looks like a combination between like some kind of Lich and like the Bat Boy. He has powerful magics that he wields to maximize shareholder profits of all the owners of every single team. He's just like straight up, it looks like he's just like straight up casting a fucking spell here. Like he's doing the, it's magic, I don't need to explain shit with like flames coming out of his hands. Yeah, his eyes are too black and large for his eye sockets. I don't know, he seems like he has some very powerful magics flowing through his veins. This is a thong, so this is too thick right here. It needs, the strap needs to actually be thinner. Barely covered private parts, ooh. I think the maximum version of that is when you have like anime characters that have a band-aid over their slit. Personally, I don't like things like pasties and band-aids and stuff because I like having the straps and shit. The straps give like a visible form to the body that pasties and band-aids do not. Okay, this needs to be more rounded. It's not properly following the curvature of the ass, which is completely wrong. It should be like this. The angle is off. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Does this make sense? If there's a thong, it'd be like this, right? It has to have this top thing, and then this thing, right? So if she's pulling this location, yeah, I think it makes sense. And then this would be stretching out. This needs to be a little of a more of a tighter line like this. Looks fine to me. This is the type of shit that AI gets wrong all the time. I want this to be a better straight line. I'm actually gonna fucking use a straight line tool for this. It's like this. Because AI can't understand, like, strap mechanics and shit. It's really good at wrinkles and summarizing wrinkles in a way that looks like proper wrinkles. But when you ask it to, like, figure out, like, this strap goes to this location and stuff, it always fucks that shit up. Any woman in chat willing to send pics of their thongs? If only there was some way in which we could see images of women's thongs on the internet. I don't want to see the mediocre thongs of men and women in this chat. Remember, guys, thongs are not limited to women alone. You too can wear a thong. Dangerous black leather thong with studs and a skull logo on it to show the other men at the bar how fucking dangerous and sexy you are. Absolute classic post from The Onion, by the way, from '98. Why do all these homosexuals keep sucking my cock? Look, I'm not a hateful person or anything. I believe we should all live and let live, but lately I've been having a real problem with these homosexuals. You see, just about wherever I go these days, one of them approaches me and starts sucking my cock. 1998. Take last Sunday, for instance, where I casually struck up a conversation with this guy in the health club locker room. Nothing fruity, just a couple of fellas talking about their workout routines while enjoying a nice hot shower. The guy looked like a real man's man too. Big biceps, meaty thighs, thick neck. He didn't seem the least bit gay. At least not until he started sucking my cock, that is. Where does this queer get the nerve to suck my cock? Did I look gay to him? Was I wearing a pink feather boa without realizing it? I don't recall the phrase "suck my cock" entering the conversation, and I don't have a sign around my neck that reads, "Please, you homosexuals, suck my cock." I've got nothing against homosexuals. Let them be free to do their gay thing in peace, I say. But when they start sucking my cock, then I've got a real problem. Average attendee of RNC. Believe me, I have no interest in getting my cock sucked by some queer. But try telling that to the guy at the beach club, or the one at the video store, or the one who catered my wedding, or any of the countless other homos who've come across me recently. All of them suck my cock, and there was nothing I could do to stop them. Screws with your head at other times too. Every time a man passes me on the street, I'm afraid he's gonna grab me and drag me off to some bathroom to suck my cock. I've even started to visualize these repulsive cock-sucking episodes during the healthy, heterosexual marital relations I enjoy with my wife, even some that haven't actually happened. Like the sweaty post-game locker room tryst with Vancouver Canucks forward Mark Messier that I can't seem to stop thinking about. Yeah. I understand where he's coming from, bro. I too can visualize Mark sucking my dick after a hockey game. That's some real Chad bone structure we have right here. That is some real Chad Thundercock energy coming from him. Alright, with that note about cock sucking, I'm going to end the stream here. See you around, guys. Have a nice night, boys. Have a nice weekend. I'm going to try and finish my Chainsaw Man drawing. Good night. Have a nice night, boys.